following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac. So, Johnny, I've been hearing really great things about this Nostalgia Funhouse. It just brings back so many great memories.
Andrew, another reason I'm getting in line with you here is that you really vouched for this show. So I'm just going to believe you that this is the show that, I've been wanting, which is just talking about all the fun stuff from our yesteryear and the years before. And I really hate anything meta. So I'm glad that what we're doing right now is not that.
Oh, no, definitely. What is meta? Isn't that Ron Artesta's new name?
Well, add World and Peace to it, sure.
Yeah, but this is great. They last year they were tearing play sets and Halloween costumes.
Well, that sounds cool.
They get these weird court recordings from pop culture courts.
Does anybody care about court cases?
These ones are kind of cool. They put Scott Kelvin on trial. Poor old Santa Claus there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. You know what's the best part about this is though? Is I hear they always got a really great sponsor. You can check it out right there.
This Saturday,
What's up, Doc?
join Alf, Garfield, Kermit, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Cowabunga, dude!
Plus all your favorite cartoon characters as they join forces to help keep kids off drugs.
Why don't you just say no?
Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime special.
You're excellent just the way you are, without drugs.
The Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. Saturday on Fox.
Hello, welcome to the Nostalgia Funhouse. Today, we're very excited to bring you an all-star selection, a crossover event for the ages. Skeletor here. They didn't invite me, them fools. No, Skeletor, I'm sorry. They just all enough you were missing from this. But I'm Johnny, and I'm joined, as always, by one of my bestest pals, Andrew, over there. Andrew,
Yes.
you made me watch this.
Yes, I did. Because Johnny likes talking animals, and I wanted to make sure he didn't take anything extra to help him see talking animals.
Which this backfired on you because all this kid sees is talking animals.
Yes, and that's why I wrote you that text. Please do not do drugs to see talking animals.
And I told you I'm buying crack as we speak.
There's
Yeah.
some serious drug usage in this. A little bit over.
I think there's always been hey, kids don't do drugs message, but I want to say when me and you were growing up, there was a major campaigns constantly. I was in the DARE program. There was constantly you're always seeing messages on television about, hey, you shouldn't do drugs, that kind of thing.
Watching you, Johnny.
Yes. I've never looked at cooking eggs the same ever since I found out that's what it was like on drugs.
It sounds horrible, but as a kid, I really loved the ones with the drunk driving and the glasses clashing together. Don't know why. It was one of my favorite commercials. I also, a funny story about drinking and driving.
Okay.
Well, no, it's not.
I just want everybody to know Andrew's had a great morning. He's about to say this, and earlier he was just waxing poetic about the Cold War.
Damn, Tommy. But so my mother, when I was, I remember I wasn't in school yet, and we would go pick up my brother from school. So she would be in the car, and she would have something to drink, like a milk, pop or soda, depending on where you're from, something like that. And I just heard drinking and driving. I didn't realize.
Oh yeah. When you're a kid, yeah.
I went around and I told everybody that my mother likes.
I mean, technically, you're not lying.
I'm not lying, but it wasn't on the same page.
Yeah.
Because she'd like to have something to drink that was non-alcoholic in the car, did not make that drinking and driving.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I got it. I wouldn't say I got her in some trouble, but there was some looks. And I also did this funny thing because you talked about church in the last episode. I also did this at church, telling people that my mother would drink and drive.
Yeah, well, they'd probably appreciate it the most.
And she was a Sunday school teacher, so there was some definite looks going on. Good thing a couple people knew exactly what I was talking about, or
Yeah.
it would have been very bad.
Yeah, but Andrew, if I told you, hey, we're going to get all these different cartoon characters spanning all different, from Disney to Warner Brothers, together in one place. As a kid, I would be and I was incredibly excited.
Yes.
And that's what we have here. My favorite part, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. You can find this on YouTube.
Yep.
What's the exact name of it, Andrew?
Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue. It premiered April 21st, 1990.
Now, if you're a kid and you're settling in to watch this, don't you think you want to start this off with a bang?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they did when they gave us George Bush and his wife.
I loved that. Can I just say that was like, what is going on?
It's such a low maintenance way to start this thing, because it goes off the rails after that.
Well, didn't Nancy Reagan start the Just Say No campaign?
I think so. Yeah.
I want to say Nancy Reagan did that, and then all of a sudden George Bush and Barbara. Come on, classic '90s George and Barbara.
Yeah.
And we're talking about George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, the senior, George Bush Sr. And that's what kids want to see in their cartoon all-stars to start out with. An old white man who's the president of the United States. That's exactly what we're looking forward to.
I did. I wanted to see George Bush, damn it. Because I just found out that there was an actual president in kindergarten when Reagan got kicked out of office. Or not kicked out, but when
he just didn't get elected again.
Yeah. Well, no, he couldn't.
Right, he did 2 terms, right?
Did 2 terms.
Yeah.
But this is a wonderful Just Say No campaign, and starts off by you seeing a mysterious figure steal a piggy bank off a dresser in a young girl's room. That young girl is Corey. But who witnesses this horrendous crime, Johnny? Where other than Papa Smurf himself, that came out, and he said, "Hey, I was smurfing like a baby."
By the way, yeah, it's Papa Smurf and a couple of other Smurfs, but no, there's no Lady Smurf there out of all those. So it's a it's a Smurf sausage party going on.
It starts out pretty heavy with the cartoons, because then all of a sudden an elf comes popping out of picture. Big mark for Elf. 100%.
Yes.
And it's funny that Elf is in this because, excuse me, there in one of Elf's very first episode, he gives Brian, the little boy on the show, a beer, and they come walking out together with a beer. So maybe cartoon Elf is different than Puppet Elf.
Cartoon Elf is still on Melmac though, right? I think that's how that show was.
Yeah, it was
like it's like a prequel technically.
There was that one, and then there was one where they did fairy tales, and I feel like that's like hey, default, hey, we ran out of stories, we'll just put characters into fairy tales.
Yeah, I want to read you the list of all the characters that I saw show up. Right, I want to do this before we get into it. Of course, you already mentioned the Smurfs and Alf, Kermit, Winnie the Pooh, Garfield, which I marked out for, of course. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Garfield is the rich man's Heathcliff.
Oh, you're going after Gary on this one? Going after Gary. Shots fired.
Alvin and the Chipmunks. Slimer, which I also marked out for. Bugs Bunny, who I always wanted to hear Bugs Bunny talk about joints, so this is a dream come true for me. Michelangelo, who gets the lamest part of all of it. Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and this is the Muppet Babies. This isn't the Muppets. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. All three of them. Tigger, Daffy Duck. I think I got them all there.
Yes. Did you
That's
say
a
you said the Chipmunks? Yeah.
yeah, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Yeah.
Damn, they don't even get names.
And if you know me and if you listen to the show, you know I love talking animals. So my brain was in overload.
So was poor Michael. But so we get Elf pops out of the picture. Garfield has a lamp. Alvin and the Chipmunks in a record sleeve. That's how old this is, folks. Winnie the Pooh was obviously a stuffed animal. Kermit has an alarm clock. I'm not an animator, but I thought he was drawn pretty good.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
Okay. All right.
I think overall, considering you technically have all kinds of different styles here of these characters, they did a pretty good job. The only one that's a little off is Michelangelo.
Which
And that's just animation wise. Yeah.
which was the lamest. I'll get into that later. But so and then you got Slimer. He comes through the wall, and then all of a sudden they realize that Michael, Corey's older brother, stole stole their piggy bank, and she goes in there and she's like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh, it fell," and she's like, "What? Into your room?" That was great.
I just want to say this too that even though obviously the show this will have a happy ending because it's for kids, that older brother, I think the problem is not the drugs. I think he's just a dick.
He was. Well, maybe the drugs made him a dick, Johnny.
I don't know. I think they enhanced his dickness.
Those are different types of drugs.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Blue Chew.
But we could be. Wink, wink.
Yeah, come on out, Blue Chew. Uh, but while the cartoons are under the bed, they smell a funny smell, Johnny. What is that funny smell?
Oh, I also wanted to point out too that I love that it's canon. They made sure to, that when Alf and Garfield interacted, Alf threatened to eat him.
Yes, that was great.
I really love that.
But what is the funny smell? But nothing, none other than marijuana underneath.
Oh man, that's the worst drug of them all.
Oh well, no, it's so much worse.
It doesn't get any worse than old Mary Jane.
So Corey's like, oh, complaining about that. And then it kind of cuts. And she's worried about her brother. But then it cuts to an arcade, the most seediest looking arcade known to man.
Yeah, get some better lighting, arcade.
This is the way that they showed it. It looked like they were showing some like dive bar in a movie or something just totally disgusting. I've never seen an arcade look like that.
Yeah, kids, it was not a place for kids.
No. But it had arcade games, not those other arcade games.
Oh, I think I want to point out too when Michael he smashed a piggy bank and he had all his little sister's money spread out. He goes, there's got to be at least $20 here. There was not $20 there. It was all nickels and quarters at most. There was nowhere near $20, Michael. I think the drugs are really hurting your math skills.
I was like 8. I didn't understand that. You know what my first thought was when I was rewatching this? Because I remember when I dug through my piggy bank after I saved a bunch of money and I had like $15 and I bought 3 G.I. Joes. I was like, damn, he could buy 4 G.I. Joes. Why is he buying drugs when you could go at that time and buy 4 G.I. Joes?
Yeah, my thought would have been like, I'm like, man, I can get a lot of like Ninja Turtle figures with this. What's this idiot doing?
Go get your G.I. Joes, man. But at the CD arcade, Michael smokes marijuana with his friends, and a smoke, which is anthropomorphic cloud of smoke, tries to
get. It's like a smoke guy.
Yeah, and tries to convince harder drugs and the harder drug is crack. They were gonna smoke crack at the arcade.
My favorite part is now I'll fully admit that I've never done crack. I'm just go ahead and admit it. I know. I seem lame.
What
I know.
A loser this guy is.
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm fairly certain because there's a line where one of the kids goes, "Hey, if you got $10, I can get us some crack." I am fairly certain crack costs way more than $10. even at that time.
Whenever I hear crack and the cost of it, I always think of the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Dean Dennis.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I take 2, please? Do you think 2 is enough? He's like, how much is 2 cracks? Is that $200?
But you're also talking to the guy who the hardest drug that I was way more of a drinker. The hardest drug that I ever did was one time this guy blew marijuana smoke in my face. I was like, I hate this. So I never wanted to do it. I was not a fan of it because of that. I didn't have a drinking problem though. Thankfully I overcame that.
Where are we at? Okay, so
they just asked for they're in the city arcade, they're smoking their J's.
And then they get chased out because they hear the cops.
Yeah.
But who is the cop? Who came out of the shadows to be the cop?
And what's up, Doc? That's right. It's Bugs Bunny himself.
And he takes Michael on a time machine that he borrowed from Wile E. Coyote, which it didn't blow up.
This whole thing, by the way, is about saying no to drugs, and it's the most trippiest cartoon you'll probably see in quite some time.
Yeah, I would say rewatch it because we're gonna get into some parts where words can't describe. You know what? We've been watching a lot of stuff where
this is like
on drugs, we would be really messed up right now.
This is like the black hole of cartoons.
The black hole. I was like, I'm sorry, Johnny. And he was like, I don't know if you should be or you should be. You should be there because this is pretty interesting in every way. But he takes him back and he shows them to when, he first started smoking because he didn't want those older kids to think he was lame. And that was the other thing too, is the piggy bank. The other thing that got me that I don't think a lot of like younger kids would understand is when Elf said that Wally would never do that to the beef.
Yes,
are we the last generation or the last age group that would get that joke? I completely forgot about that until now. But he takes them back and everything else, and this is when you get into your crack thing here. Well, not your crack thing. Like you talked about with crack. And the friend, like you said, is like, hey, I could get us crack for $10. And they're like, Michael's got money, and they straight steal his wallet. And these are your friends. These are your friends stealing money from you to go buy crack. And you're teenagers. Never, you know what? I lived in one of the most probably drug-ridden cities in all of America. And in high school, never once, I don't even think ever in my life have I been offered crack.
I don't think I have been offered stuff before, but I've never had crack, cocaine, or anything that ever offered to me. It's always been marijuana for sure. Yeah. Alcohol, of course. Yeah. And that's probably as harsh as it gets for stuff I was offered.
I've been asked if I wanted to buy heroin, but that was by a drug dealer on a street corner. That's why I live in a drug-riddled city.
Yeah, but when it comes to actual peer pressure, those are probably the things. We do have, I don't want to brag about where I grew up, but we did have a lot of meth labs.
You're not.
Oh, as far as the eye can see, meth everywhere.
A lot of Walter Whites in his areas, folk.
Yeah, God bless this Smith.
But then he and Smoke chase after until they fall into a sewer to encounter Michelangelo, who tells them that drugs is harming his brain. And this is the lamest cameo out of the whole entire thing. And
he should have been the coolest.
He should have. I remember even as a kid being like 8 years old going, this is the lamest thing I've seen on this.
It gets lamer because he helps sing a song afterwards.
I like that song.
I mean, it's the reason I don't do drugs.
Because you know how many different ways to say no.
Yeah, I learned.
Baby Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo take him on a roller coaster like tour into the human brain.
No,
And
it's Michael's brain.
oh yeah, Michael's brain. And then he finds himself in the park, and this is where Johnny's dream comes true, where he awakes to find Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Talking ducks. That's right. That's going to be my next podcast, Johnny Talking Ducks. Where I'll just rate and review all the different talking ducks per episode.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever need a day off, just do that episode.
Okay. It's just me ranking talking ducks.
I'm
not doing like join our Patreon. You'll get my Johnny Ranks Talking Ducks.
There you go. But Tigger's there as well, and this is where they sing the song. There's many different ways to say no. Talking about you could say no in many different languages. I believe they were teaching them many different excuses. Like one was my hamster died. I got that out of there.
Yeah.
So it's a very different way. It's a nice musical piece. Then Michael wakes up in his room believing that the interactions with the cartoons to be a nightmare. I would have stopped doing drugs at that point. I would have been like,
yeah,
I'm dog.
Yeah, look what it's doing to me.
Yeah. Corey tries to talk to him, but he's
also during this whole time too, Corey, the little sister, has been struggling with whether to tell her parents or not.
Yes. And then
which I think is a very real thing. Like I like that because I mean there have been plenty of times I think anybody who's if you're close with somebody else and they're maybe doing stuff you know they shouldn't do, like how do you handle that?
Yeah. And then she told her dad, and he completely blew it off, just like a dad in that situation, in that time.
Yes.
It must have been Will's dad. Hey, I just got back from the yard. Hey, did by any chance did you finish mowing the lawn?
Very much dad.
Yeah. I also like that too in the beginning when he's like, "Huh, a couple beers are gone," and the wife totally dismisses it. She's like, "You must have drank when you were watching football."
Yeah, so it really makes me think that dad has a drinking problem himself.
Yeah, maybe the cartoon hero, the cartoon all stars need to go to him for a rescue. But this is where Michael grabs Corey because he snaps and he shoves her up against the bedroom wall.
Yeah, this is when I wrote. I think he's just a dick.
Yeah, but he tries to apologize.
No, he immediately had regret for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which it's a very well documented thing that some people have to actually hit some sort of bottom, a rock bottom, Dwayne the Rock Johnson bottom to realize that they actually have a problem.
He tries to, or she runs out of the room. Smoke approves of Michael's action. He's like, dude, you got to do it sometimes. But he starts to regrets. Michael looks at himself in the small mirror. This is when like Smoke's like, you look fine. You look good. But Michael's not looking too good. So the elf grabs him and pulls him inside the mirror. More trippiness. After this one, I think I would have just sweared off drugs 100% after this day.
Yeah, 100%.
Inside a hall mirror, Elf shows them current reflection and then an aged and sickly version of shows him being affected by the drugs. He also calls him Freddy Krueger. We get a Freddy Krueger reference in this.
Yeah.
Shout out to the early 90s. When Michael insists that he can easily quit and control his actions, which is another thing with drugs and Elf.
Yeah, I can quit whenever I want to. Yep.
Yeah. Elf reveals that Smoke is actually in charge. Michael's back in his room. Smoke traps Pooh in a cabinet and tempts Michael. Tempts Corey.
Oh, he traps Winnie the Pooh. We might as well
throws
Winnie
the Pooh into a cabinet.
He doesn't just throw Pooh in a cabinet. He throws Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
That's a messy cabinet.
He throws Winnie the. Well, you've heard that thing, right? Spots on the wall. By who flung Pooh? Smoke flung Pooh. Then he's like, "Hey, Corey, pinch your brother's bag a little bit here. Why don't you try some of this?
Yeah.
She considers it, and then that it could like help her with her relationship with Michael. If Michael
Yeah.
does it, maybe it'd be cool. We could just smoke weed and listen to Pink Floyd. Never did that before. Um, but this is how they put it in Wikipedia. The drug-induced carnival in Michael's mind leads him to Daffy Duck. That is up there
Yeah.
with the Herb Abrams.
Yes. But I mean, I can't fault because is literally what happens.
This is what
Daffy Duck is the psychic basically at the carnival.
and reads his future in crystal ball, and also
Well, first he tries to read it in a bowling ball because he's Daffy Duck.
oh, you got to keep it light for the kids after all that crack talk.
Yes.
Who reads the crystal ball and sees an almost skeleton Michael on his deathbed. After one last warning from the cartoons, and the same Michael stops Corey from using the drugs in time when he apologizes and expresses concern over whether he can change. She advises him to seek help from family, which is always a great idea.
Yeah.
But Smoke tries to persuade him otherwise, but Michael throws him out the window into a garbage truck. Classic cartoon. Right to the garbage truck when you want it.
Yeah. He got shredded.
And wouldn't this be like a Saturday or a day in the summer? It's got to be a day in the summer if there's a garbage truck coming by.
Yeah, it's got to be a summer day, I would expect. Because the kids are not in school, that's for sure.
Yeah. All of the cartoons, because they're in that seedy arcade, all of the cartoons appear on a poster on Michael's wall, and they all agree to be prepared if and when Smoke returns. Mike releases Winnie the Pooh from the cabinet, who jumps into the poster with the others before the siblings go downstairs to talk to their parents. And that is the end of Cartoon All Stars. So, Johnny.
Yeah.
My thought was, I've already told you this, this is Toy Story meets Intervention.
Yeah. Yes. Like if the toys had gotten together and they're like, look, Buzz, we got to tell you, you're not a real astronaut.
Yes. You just play one on TV. But that is
Now, big question. Who would you be?
oh, we're gonna do this.
Yep. Who would you be?
Oh jeez. I'm not gonna pick a cartoon character. I'm gonna be the dad. Because I want somebody to tell me about me being blacked out drunk and that I just drank and wasn't watching football.
Oh, well, it's easy for me. I'd be Alf because I get to constantly talk about eating pussy.
Cat. That is
Side note, we recorded a sports podcast before this, and as I was getting ready, I thought of a note to write down that I want to make sure I didn't forget for this show. That may or may not have been it.
so looking back on it, this has got to be the biggest cartoon crossover since Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. They don't come around very often. Roger Rabbit, that Rescue Rangers that came out not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
Which was actually pretty good. I actually didn't enjoy that, but they don't really happen very often where you have, especially when there's competing companies that are, I mean, to see, Bugs Bunny in the same place as Winnie the Pooh, that's Disney and Warner Brothers. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, we got
That's like when Marvel and DC crossed over at one time.
figured out what the Bush's last dog's name was there. It was Millie. I couldn't remember because I
Millie
remember
Bush.
Clinton had socks because
there's
that video game.
Yes.
There's that video game.
What are we rating this out of?
Crack? I don't know.
Yeah, all right. How much crack would you give this?
How much crack do you need to smoke to enjoy that? No, I'm not gonna.
I thought this was very fun for what it is.
I thought it was too. Oh, the McDonald's thing too. The McDonald's charities. That was
Yes.
cool.
Also, I got very nostalgic when I thought it was, because it's literally what's on YouTube is literally just lifted right up from the VCR
Yeah.
of this. I just remember those FBI warnings and stuff that you get at the beginning, and I don't know why, but I felt very nostalgic because when I was a kid, that meant I'm about to watch a great movie.
You know, you know what got me before all this is the Ronald McDonald's charities. I was like, they don't do
Yeah.
enough cool Ronald McDonald's house commercials anymore.
No, they don't. Like, in fact, like I was even questioning myself that they still do that.
I believe they do, unless I
I
give
think they do, but
a dollar to a random thing at McDonald's, because I believe in like the drive-through, you can't really see them anymore. Underneath where you either pay or get your food, I know it was like this at a couple that I went to. There's like a little bin and it says donate to the Ronald McDonald House.
yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I choose where I put my crack.
I think that's the number one thing that got me about this. Is like they were like, hey, he's doing weed. Okay, let's go smoke crack. We're not out
Yes,
of high school or anything. Let's just go straight get crack.
It was a big jump.
Yeah. And don't you want to spend your quarters on a good video game instead of
Yes, that's the other thing. I was like, there's probably like some great games in there. Why are you not playing those instead of? I've been playing those well before I think about doing crack.
the turtle games
Yeah.
out then, right?
And my list would be Ninja Turtles game, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, then crack.
There's what video games would you rather would you rather
Which video games?
crack?
Which arcade games would you play before doing crack?
Who would do the thing? Would you rather play this game or smoke crack?
Yeah. Oh, that's there you go. Daytona USA. I'd rather play that game.
I'd rather play that. What is it? Roadmasters, or was it Road Blasters? I think I'd rather play that.
Yeah, same.
Return of the Jedi.
I gotta play Return of the Jedi.
I played it recently. I think I'd rather smoke crack.
It's not. I didn't say it was good, but if I'm a kid, I'm playing Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Now, as an adult, I think there's times where I'd rather smoke.
Oh, as an adult, I'm like, well, maybe the crack's not so bad.
Shout out to the Electric Starship Arcade for having Return of the Jedi and make me realize that I'd rather smoke crack than play. It's gonna be a giant E on this one just because of all the crack talk.
Yeah, a lot of crack talk. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I don't know how they measure crack.
Rocks. We'll just say
Uh,
rocks.
4 out of 5 rocks of cocaine.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well. And I think the only thing that takes it down is the Michelangelo cameo.
Yeah, the Michelangelo cameo is very
Mhm.
lame. That really hurt it. It could have been so much cooler.
And of course they used Michelangelo.
He was probably the most, especially at that time, the most popular of the turtles, would be my guess.
But
He's
he's
kinda-
does the most drugs.
I know you, Raphael, would probably the one who does the most drugs. Trying to deal with his depression.
So it would be Leonardo or Donatello would probably been the best fit.
All right, let's real quick. Let's list the turtles who we think did the most drugs, starting with the most to the least. I don't know. Michelangelo was a party dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's probably obviously done the most.
Yeah, he maybe. I think I will put Michelangelo first. No one's always that chipper.
And I think Raphael.
Yeah.
Then probably Donatello or Leonardo.
And then I think Donatello would be the least likely.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Leonardo's cracked open a few beers after dealing with those three.
Oh, he's had to.
I don't think
had
he's
to.
a hard guy. I don't think he's a hard drug guy, but I think
Right, but I think he's like a Miller Lite.
it's
Now Splitter, I don't even want to know what he has to do to deal with him.
I don't think Splinter would do drugs.
I don't know, man. That's tough raising 4 kids who are turtles.
I think Bebop and Rocksteady would definitely do some.
Oh, they most certainly did even before they became mutants.
How the hell did we get on this conversation?
These are the ones that people want to hear. And stay tuned,
Well,
where
let's
I'm
do,
going to be.
let's
Stay
do-
tuned.
Let's do Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
There's
Yeah.
four of them. We've got to balance it out. We'll go Ghost.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think Peter.
Peter first. Ray.
Ooh, see, I'd put Winston.
I don't know. I think Ray and Winston are sort of interchangeable here. I think Egon's last.
Egon's definitely last.
Yeah. He's too busy collecting spores.
You know what? I think I would go. Though those are two interchangeable. Like you could do Winston because Ray did get a little something from a ghost in the original.
Oh yeah. A little happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is our cartoon all-stars to the rescue review. Go check it out. Like Johnny said, it's on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube as well and wherever you get your podcast, and go check out our Facebook page as well. And to also plug once again our friend Matt, as we did on our last show that we did, the Retroactive Sports Podcast. Go check out MLB players in other uniforms, NBA players in other uniforms, NHL. What other sport am I missing? MLB, NFL, all four major sports in other uniforms, and also wrestlers and other gimmicks as well too. Very fascinating page. Matt does a wonderful job.
Also check out my Instagram, JohnnyIsm28. I'm doing pop culture profiles over there.
Yes.
And they're on the up and up for sure.
And with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.
Now, my main problem is going to be, where am I going to rank Launchpad on my rating of Johnny Rates Ducks? This is going to be so. I mean, he does talk a lot, but he crashes.